gently in child's pose. So bring yourself onto your knees. And if you want to, you can take the knees into a nice wide knee stretch. Bring your big toes together. Just sit back over your bottom. And we're just going to come forward. So as you exhale, slowly just walk your hands forward. Bring your hands to a nice long position. You're opening out your shoulders, stretching through the back. Pushing your bottom down towards your heels if you can. So what we're going to do now is we're going to walk our hands over to the right hand side. So you're coming over to the side. So you should feel a stretch coming all the way down the left hand side. It's kind of like doing a side bend but laying on the floor. And then what I'd like you to think about doing is taking your right hand and put it by your chest. And then try and open up the right hand so you're straightening it up. So your right shoulder goes up to the sky, but your left shoulder stays down. So that's a rotation and a side twist all at the same time. Just take a breath if you can. It's a hard one to breathe in. Really get your belly involved. And then you want to stretch the arm back out to the side. Bring the arms back to the centre. So as we exhale, we're going to go over the other way. Coming over, so you're feeling the stretch down your right hand side this time. So I'm just turning around so you can see this. And then take your right arm, put it by the side of your, or just above your knee, push your arm to a straight position. Your right elbow should stay down, your right shoulder should stay down. You're trying to stretch, adding a slight rotation to a side bend. Keep breathing. Just stay there, feel the stretch, slowly trying to open up the back, open the hips. And then bring your arm out long again. Come back into child's pose. Just take a few breaths. And then bend your elbows, bring your hands by the side of your chest. Push yourself up. Lovely, okay, so that's a nice strong one to start with. We're going to do cat and cow as our next position. So bring yourself into tabletop, and if you want to put cushions under your knees because your floor's hard, then please do so. But we're going to do cat and cow with a variation to it. We're going to start off and do a couple, and then we're going to change and put a variation into it. So as you inhale, take your chest forward so your belly goes down towards the floor, and then push your bottom back away from you so you've got a stretch coming into the back. Make sure you've engaged your tummy. It's squeezing towards your spine. Long length on the shoulders. I've just realised I was sort of crouching down. So length on the shoulders, push your arms into the floor. So now you're going to come into cat. So you're going to push your belly up to the sky. Your belly is squashing your navel. You're going right up to the sky. You're really squeezing this in. And we'll do that again. So as you inhale, push the chest forward and push the bottom backwards. Really feel that stretch, elongating the back, lower part of your back. Arms nice and long, push your hands into the floor. As you exhale, push your belly up to the sky. We're not arching the back, we're pushing the belly up to make the back look like it's arching. And then come back to neutral. So now we're going to add our variation in. I want you to think about turning your palms backwards. If you can't turn them all the way backwards, you can turn them out to the side. Just do what your wrists and your elbows will allow you to do. If this is uncomfortable on your wrists again, take it back sideways. And from here, we're going to do cat and cow again. So inhale, push your chest forwards and push your bottom back at the same time. Really push the arms nice and long into the floor. And then as you exhale, tuck your tailbone up to the sky by pushing your tummy up to the sky. So this is interesting for me. I can feel a real stretch coming all the way around the front of my forearm. just on the one side. And I know I'm quite tight in that shoulder at the moment. So actually I've just found a nice new stretch to do. So as you inhale, push your chest forward, push your bottom backwards, allowing your belly to sink in the middle, lengthen your arms. And as you exhale, tuck your tailbone under by pushing your spine towards the sky. Really push your arms into the floor. Be aware of any stretches. If they're too uncomfortable, make sure you come out. Lovely. And then bring yourself back to neutral. So it's just a little variation to do. It's good for opening the shoulders. Again, if you were a cyclist and you're using the bike quite a lot, you'll find that you can get quite stiff shoulders. So it's nice to open up the chest using that one. So staying on our hands and knees, I'm going to turn towards the camera just to show you this. We're going to do thread the needle, but usually with thread the needle, we come down and put our arms to the floor. Well, we're not doing that. What I want you to do is keep your hips nice and straight. So you are going to take the hand over to the side and your arm will come down slightly, but you're keeping your hips straight. So there's nothing going on in my hips. Normally I would bend over like that and my hips and my belly would twist. But this one, I'm just twisting through here. And it's just a rotation through the spine. It's a nice rotation. So really try and lengthen your fingertips away from you. Turn your head towards the side. That's not just because I'm looking at the camera. Just keep breathing. And then inhale, bring yourself back in to tabletop. We're going to work on the other side. So get your tabletop position nice and strong. And as you exhale, take your right hand behind your left hand and keep the hips straight. And you really stretch that arm away from you. Really push the arm away, but keep the hips nice and straight. Engage your tummy muscles. Push your left arm into the floor to lengthen through. And you might find that one side stretches more than the other. I've definitely found more of a stretch on the other side for me than I do on this one. Right, bring it back to the centre as you inhale, and as you exhale, go back over to the other side. So come on over, don't bring the shoulder down to the floor. Just stretch those fingertips away, really stretch. Make sure you're engaging your tummy muscles, pulling them up towards your spine. We're all searching for that slimmer stomach. This is a good way to do it. Just one more breath. Inhale, bring the arm back. One more time on the right. Take the right hand over to the left. Really stretch those fingers, don't put your shoulder down. Lengthen through your left arm. Lengthen through the right arm, pointing the fingertips away from you. Really feel that stretch through your hips, engage your tummy. And as you inhale, come on back up. Lovely. Ooh, feel warm already. So we're going to do downward dog, and we're not going to do a proper downward dog. We're going to do a bent knee downward dog. So you're going to think about your posture, come into tabletop again, tuck your toes under, and as you exhale, you're pushing back into downward dog. I want you to keep your knees nice and bent. So if I turn sideways, your knees are nice and bent. So what I want you to think about is engaging your tummy muscles and pushing your bottom back towards the sky. Look how my arms are straightening up. So I started off here by pushing my bottom up, keeping my legs bent. This is about trying to get a flat back. My belly is resting on my thighs, which you wouldn't do normally when you were doing downward dog. And it doesn't matter about your heels, you don't have to get your heels to the floor. Just keep the legs nice and bent, lengthening through the body. And just keep doing that. Keep yourself up in the air. Keep your neck nice and relaxed. Just take another couple of breaths. This is a good position for having nasal run. If you're ever suffering from a little bit of a cold or you've got blocked sinuses, you'll find that you get a bit runny here. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just gently walk the feet forward towards the hands. We're coming into a forward bend. So just gently take your head down towards your knees, Relax the body down. If your hamstrings are tight, don't forget we've only just started. Just allow them to gently, allow the knees to bend. Rest the belly on the legs. And just stay in the forward bend. And then we're going to come up to the sky. So before we do that, just think about trying to push your bottom up to the sky, lengthening through the hamstrings, trying to straighten those legs. Think about bringing your belly off your thighs. Squeeze your belly towards your spine. And then on your inhale, we're going to bring the hands up towards the sky. Hands to your heart centre. And release. Lovely. So let's just do a little mini part of sun salutation. Or chop my head off. I'll come over here. Inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive your hands down to the floor. Inhale, you're going to half lift. I want you to really flatten that back. Squeeze the belly in towards your spine. And then exhale, lower your hands to the floor. We're going to step back into plank. So right leg back, left leg back. We're just going to lower to the floor. So however you want to do it, if it's knees, chest, chin or chaturanga, you can lower yourself down to the floor. So just take your head to the floor. Rest your head on your hands. We're going to do a full body stretch while we're laying on the floor. So take your arms up in front of you so that they're kind of out at shoulder length. So stretch your arms away from you, your head comes down to the floor. And try and stretch your legs away from you as well. So think about lengthening your thighs down to the other end of the room behind you. And also think about pushing your bottom muscles down towards the back of the room. Not squeezing them, but push them down. And what you might find is that your tummy just lifts a little bit off the floor because you've adjusted your hips. And then we're going to lower the head to the floor. So this time we're going to do the full body stretch, but we're going to lift the hands off the floor. So as you inhale, lift your head off the floor, lift your hands off the floor. Just open your chest slightly. Think about lengthening your legs, pushing your bottom away from you, using the tummy to keep the arms up off the floor. Neck should be nice and neutral and in line with your spine. You don't want to have your head up too high or down to the floor. Keep it in line with your shoulders. Keep going. And then exhale. Lower your hands and your head to the floor. So we're going to bring the arms out into cactus position now. So bend your elbows, bring your elbows in line with your shoulders, palms to the floor. We're going to do the same again. So as you inhale, you're going to lift your head off the floor, lift your arms off the floor. Think about squeezing your shoulder blades together behind you to lift your arms off even further. And then lengthen your legs away from you, pushing your bottom away from you. Keep breathing, keep squeezing those tummy muscles, holding on, keep your arms up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. So hopefully you got enough room for this one. I don't always think about this when I'm planning, but can you take your arms out nice and straight? If you can't, you can always do T position, cactus position again. But if you've got room, take your hands out to the side of the body. And we'll do the same again. So inhale. Lift your head, shoulders and arms off the floor. Squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. So you open the arms away from the floor a little bit more. Neck nice and neutral. Lengthen your legs away from you. Squeeze your bottom down towards your feet. Holding the shoulders up. Engage your tummy muscles. Just feel the tension that's in the back of your shoulder blades, below your shoulder blades, as you try and lift your arms up off the floor. And slowly lower your hands and your head to the floor. And just take a breath, or 2, or 3, or 4, depending on how fast your heart is going. We're going to take the hands down to our sides now. So rest your hands onto your thighs. None of your fingertips or hands should be touching the floor. They should be resting on your tops of your thighs. We're going to do the same again. So as you inhale, lift your head off the floor, push your chest forward. Try and lengthen your arms away from your shoulders. You're pushing your shoulders down, but you're also trying to squeeze your shoulders together. Lengthen your legs, push your bottom down towards your feet. And you'll feel your tummy engaging. So you can lift your chest a little bit more. Head nice and neutral. Keep thinking about your posture. Arms long, shoulders back. It's easy how quickly your shoulders can fall. I've just had to adjust mine. They've fallen already. Keep adjusting them. And then exhale. Lower your head down to the floor. And again, just take a few breaths. And from here, we're going to do Cobra. So we've been working on opening and stretching the chest. So the first place to come to would be Sphinx if your back is feeling nice and tight. So elbows underneath your shoulders. If you're feeling that your back can take you a little bit further, we're only 15 minutes in though, so it's up to you. You can progress. So just setting up the people who are doing Sphinx, push the chest forward, lengthen your legs away from you, and squeeze your bottom down towards your feet. If you're coming up into Cobra, you can put your hands by the side of your chest, push yourself up. Now you can do baby Cobra, bent arms. It's a lot harder because your arms aren't locked out. You've got the weight trying to come into your shoulder. And your arms, your elbows, your triceps are involved. Push your bottom down towards the floor. Really push your chest forward, lengthening through your chest. And then slowly lower yourself down. So if you did Sphinx and you want to come up to Cobra, please do so. If you did Cobra with bent arms, you might want to progress to a straight arm Cobra. Again, up to you what you fancy doing. So as you inhale, if you're moving on and progressing from Sphinx, you want to have your hands by the side of your chest. And as you inhale, push your chest forward, lengthening into your shoulders. That's your position there. If you want to come into full Cobra, then it's a straight arm, but not a locked elbow. Keep breathing. And slowly lower yourself down to the floor. We're going to push back into child's pose. So whenever you're ready, push yourself back. Come back into child's pose. Wide knee or straight knee, entirely up to you. We're just stretching and opening the back as we've just done a back bend. This is good for releasing the back. You've done a back bend. Just take a few breaths. And then we're going to come up to standing. So bring yourself up. Just going to move my mat away because my camera's on the ankle. Okay, so we're coming up to the front of the mat. We're just going to do a small part of a sun salutation to get us back into a low lunge. So inhale, take your hands up towards the sky. Exhale, swan dive your hands down to the floor. Relax your head, bend your knees. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bring your hands down. This time I'd like you to step back with just your left foot, and that's where we're going to stay. We're coming into a low lunge. So as you inhale, bring yourself up into your low leg lunge. You want to try and get this part of your leg at a 90-degree angle with the floor. Sorry, with your knee. So we're going to do a low lunge. So what that means is you need to bend this knee. Now you can either bend this knee and keep it away from the floor, or if that's too strong for you, you can take the knee to the floor. It works either way. Whichever you want to do, we're going to inhale the arms up to the sky, which will make your balance a little bit harder. Turn your palms towards the front of the room And then bring your arms down into cactus arms. Really trying to open your shoulders. Squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. And inhale your arms back up to the ceiling. Exhale, bring them down into cactus arms. Remember, the knee can be on the floor or bent. It's up to you. Really squeeze your shoulder blades together. Engage your tummy muscles. Inhale them back up. And then exhale one more time. Bring the arms back down. And then come back up to the sky. So we're going to stay with this leg. So if you've got your knee to the floor, you want to come up off the knee. So this is now crescent lunge. So your back leg is straight. You're going to take your hands down to the floor. If you've got your right leg forward, take your left hand to your right leg. And then you're going to rotate round, bringing yourself up towards the sky. So a nice little rotation. Try and open the shoulders, stack the shoulders, one on top of the other. Engage your tummy muscles. Feel that rotation coming into your chest, opening your chest muscles. You might even feel it kind of pulling through your bottom as well. Exhale, lower your right hand to the floor. Bring your hands back into plank. We're going to step back with the right leg and step forward with the left leg. And we've got to do those two moves again on this side. So when you're ready, you've got your balance, you're going to inhale, bring yourself up to standing. And we're going to do the low lunge. So if you want to take your knee down towards the floor or onto the floor, just do what works for you. Inhale, bring your arms up to the sky. As you exhale, come into cactus arms. Squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you, opening your chest. Really feel that stretch coming through the back thigh. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, coming on down. Into cactus arms. Really squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, bring them back down. Inhale, take them up to the sky. And exhale, we wheel them down to the floor. So this time you want to straighten out your back leg. No knee to the floor. Take your right hand down to the floor if your left foot is on the floor. Other hand, if you're doing it in a different foot to me. Inhale, lift your left arm up to the sky. Want to even look up to the hand. Just depends on your neck, really. If your neck doesn't feel up to it, just make sure your neck's facing nice and forward. And then slowly bring your arm back down to the floor. We're going to step back into plank. Just hold the pose just for a moment. Remember to squeeze your tummy muscles in. You can take your knees to the floor if you want to, just to do plank. Now you can do it, come on. Trying to strengthen. And then slowly take your knees down to the floor. And we're going back into child's pose again. So I'm taking my knees out nice and wide. It's up to you, whatever you fancy doing. And just slowly try and sit back on your heels. Bring your head down to the floor. Breathe in and out through your nose. Just be aware of your breath. And we're going to come up to standing. So just sit yourself up. And when you're ready, inhale, bring yourself up to standing. Don't forget, take some water if you want to. Okay, so mountain pose. Standing with your feet fist width apart. Engage your bottom muscles, give them a good squeeze. Push your feet into the floor. Lengthen your tummy button away from your abdomen, from your trouser line. And roll your shoulders open and back. Feel as if you're trying to pull your shoulder blades together behind you. Palms should naturally turn out to the front and your neck should be nice and neutral. So stand nice and tall. So we're just going to do some shoulder circles while we're in mountain pose. Shoulders going backwards, circling backwards. And now you're going to add your arms to big circles with the shoulder circles. So bring the shoulders forward, arms up and round, kind of like doing backstroke fly. Just bring the arms around. And we're going to do the same coming forward. So big shoulder rolls to start with, and just turning forward to the side just to show you an added feature for this one. So when you start to add your arms, I want you to think about curving your back forward. So you're bringing the arms over like you would do if you were front crawling. So lift the arms up, and as they come forward, arch the back downwards. Do that again, big shoulders, bring the arms up, and as you come down, arch the back. And then bring yourself to standing. We're going to have a go at tree pose. So there's varying different degrees of tree pose. Just start in mountain pose and get your balance. Get nice and strong. We're going to transfer the weight onto the left leg, and then you're going to turn this leg to open to the side. So the baseline level is to have your toe to the floor. If your balance is better than that, you can always bring your toe off the floor, coming up the leg. Don't put the foot onto your knee though. You either want to be below or you want to come right up here. So up to you, whatever works for you. Hands into your heart centre. It's really a key thing to push the foot into the thigh to help hold it there. And then if you want, you can lift your arms up towards the sky. And slowly bring your hands down and your leg down. I'm going to swap over to the other side. Just realised I'm cutting my head off. I'm just going to adjust the angle of the camera a little bit. Okay, so back into mountain pose. Stand nice and tall. Palms facing forward. As you inhale, transfer your weight onto your right leg and open your left hip up. Bring the foot to the floor or up. Your leg not to your knee, maybe up. Into the thigh. And bring your hands to your heart centre. If you feel like it, you can always add the arms. So really concentrate. Remember your drishti point. Focus on something. That means you're focusing on nothing else. It could be a pattern on the carpet or the floor, a light switch, or even the phone or laptop or tablet that you're watching this on. It's amazing what does happen once you switch the mind off, to stop it even thinking about the fact that you're wobbling. Just let the body deal with it. I'm wobbling all over the place. Don't care, the body is adjusting. Slowly bring your hands back to the heart centre. Lower your hands and lower your leg. Just give the legs a nice little shake. So come up towards the end of your mat. We're going to come into side angle pose. So I want you to step back with your left foot so that you're kind of in warrior two position. So your hips are facing forwards or sideways and your knee is facing forward. You're just going to inhale, lift your arms up. As you exhale, you're going to push your body forward, trying to keep your hips where they are, so that now you've got a straight line running down from your right, what's this called, shoulder, down to the foot. Then you're going to turn sideways, bring your arms up to that rotation. If that's too strong for you, you can always put your hands to your elbow to your knee. If not, you can just lean the hand gently against the leg. If you feel you can get more of a stretch out of it, you might need to just take your front foot forward to come out. And you can lean down to the floor. So the intention is that your foot and your shoulder has a nice line. If you find that you're a little bit like that and you've got a bend through here, then you need to kind of open up the hip a little bit more. And then we're going to inhale, bring it around to the side. Now, you can either swap legs or you can turn the body round. So turn your left foot forward and then turn your right foot round to the other side. So now you're in the opposite position. Hips should be facing away from the front. So this is your front, this is your side. Open your knee out. Inhale, lift your arms up. And as you exhale, lean forward, keeping your hips where they are. Keep your front knee bent. You might need to bend it a little bit more. And then windmill round to the side. And make sure you're breathing. Try and think about your shoulder blades behind your back. You're trying to bring your top shoulder blade around and back. Trying to open your shoulders. Again, you can always put the elbow onto the knee if you feel that's something that works for you. And then in the next inhale, bring yourself back to warrior two. And then we're going to turn this foot, the bent leg, so the foot's facing forwards. So we're doing a wide-legged forward bend now. We're going to put our hands onto our hips. No, we're not. We're going to take our hands down our legs to start with. So what I want you to intentionally think about is that you're not curving the back. You're keeping the back straight. So tummy's engaged. You're coming down into a flat-backed, wide-legged position. Next, nice and neutral, in line with your spine. And then just see whether you can keep your back flat, bring your body back down towards the floor. I know some of you have got really tight backs and that might not happen. So you can always bend the knees. I'd rather you keep the back straight than the knees and the legs straight. So you might be feeling a bit like a gorilla at the moment. I'm not sure if that's a pose in yoga. I'll have to look that one up. But lots of other animals are. So I want you to take your hands over towards your left leg now. So take the hands over to the foot. Keep the legs in a nice position. And then I want you to take your hands onto your hips. And do you think it would be possible that you take your right elbow down towards the floor, your left elbow up towards the ceiling, adding a rotation in? Think about your shoulders. Pull your top shoulder back so you're opening the shoulders. Legs nice and strong. Again, you can have a bend still in them, doesn't matter, as long as they're strong, holding you up. Okay, so as you exhale, bring your elbows back down to level. Bring your hands down to the floor. Make sure your neck's nice and relaxed. And then take your hands over to the right hand side. Once you feel that you've got as far to the right as you can, bring your hands back onto your hips. And this time you're going to take your left elbow down towards the floor, your right elbow up towards the sky. Open the shoulders. It's a real good squeeze on the tummy. Hopefully you've got good control of all of your assets. And then slowly bring your elbows round so they're in line with the floor. Take your hands to the floor. So what we're going to try and do now is take the weight forward a little bit. So you might end up taking your hands off your mat, or you might not have a mat, you might be on the carpet. So what I want you to do is walk your hands forward. I'm just going to turn sideways so you can see what I mean. So normally you'd kind of have your hands just by your feet. I want you to walk your hands forward. So you're transferring the weight over your hands and your arms. So can you see what position we've come into? We're in downward dog, but we've got wide legs. So make sure you take your hands forward a little bit more, push your bottom up to the sky, open your shoulders. And it's actually quite a nice stretch to do. You might find you might be able to keep your heels down a little bit nicer. Really engage your tummy muscles. The only thing to be mindful of, if you've got your hands on your mat and your feet off your mat, my mat is stretching underneath me, so my hands are slowly moving forwards with the mat. So just be mindful. I don't want you falling on the floor when you're doing this one. Ooh, it's a nice stretch. And then we're going to slowly bring the hands back towards the feet. Bend the knees and slowly inhale, bring yourself up to standing. Give those legs a nice little shake. We're going to come back onto our knees now, so just take some water if you want to. And if you've got a pillow, you might need a pillow under your knee because we are going to come onto one knee. So, come down onto one knee. So one knee down and one knee up. You're going to lean forward over the leg that you've got forward, and it doesn't matter what leg you've got forward, we're just going to do opposite legs. So just come down, lean your hands to the floor. And what we're looking to do is actually straighten the front leg. This is called half split. So what I'm actually doing is just crabbing my foot forward slightly to help assist me in my half split. So I'm going to take the bottom back so that then you straighten out the front leg. And I'm up, I've got my heel on the floor and my foot is flexed. So just allow yourself to feel that position. You should feel a stretch coming through the back of your hamstring, maybe your calf. Just allowing yourself to come a little bit closer down towards your leg if you can. Doesn't matter if you can't. Think about opening your chest, and by pushing your chest forward, that will really pull on the back of your hamstring. So again, just do what works for you. If you feel the push of the chest is just a step too far, just stay with your back curved. Okay, so now we're going to flex the foot forward. So you're trying to get your toes onto the floor, pushing the toes forward, keeping this leg nice and straight. And you might find that you want to crab the foot forward a little bit more to make that a nicer stretch for you. You should be getting the stretch through the back of the hamstring, maybe the inside of the thigh, just slightly underneath the back of the leg, the inside of the leg. And we're going to swap to the other side. So bring yourself up onto your fingertips, bend your front knee. What I'm going to do is transfer my body to the inside of my leg that's forward and take it back. Move over to the other side, take the other leg forward. So we're going to do exactly the same on this side. So just crab your front foot forward slightly. So I've changed from being in a position where this leg's nice and straight and this bit's nice and straight, so this leg is angled slightly. Gives me a little bit more room to get into this half split. So as you exhale, take your bottom back towards the back of the room, aiming to straighten your front leg, taking your foot off the floor, coming onto the heel, or even onto the back of the heel. So just allow yourself to stretch. See if you can come a little bit closer to your front leg with your nose. If you feel that your back's quite curved, then think about pushing your chest forward to try and straighten your back. That will take the stretch right the way into the back of the hamstring. For me, it's right up by the knee on this leg. I don't think it was that close on the other side. I think it was more centre hamstring. It just shows that the stretch impacts you in different ways. So now think about pushing your toes forward, stretching the toes down towards the floor. Feeling the stretch. Again, you might want to crab the leg forward slightly to get more of a stretch out of the leg. Pushing the chest forward if you want. And then we're slowly going to come out of this. So bend the knee, bring both hands to the inside of your leg, and bring the leg back. Lovely, just sit back on your heels. Whew. So we're just going to do a low lunge, a nice straightforward low lunge with no hands, no arms. So again, just bring yourself back up. I'm just going to adjust my camera again. Can't see my feet. So step to the front of your mat. We're going to do a small flow to get there. So inhale, arms up to the sky. Exhale, swan dive your hands down. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands back to the floor. Inhale, step your left foot back. We're coming into a low lunge. So bring the knee down to the floor this time. Release the back toe and bring yourself up to an upright position. So this back leg should be nice and straight. You should have a nice 90-degree angle in the hip, in the knee, sorry. Body parts, always tough for me. It's like my left and my right. So think about your belly and your bottom. I want you to think, so my hips are slightly facing backwards. I want you to think about tucking your tailbone under. If you notice with me, by doing that, my hip becomes nice and straight. But then I get a real big stretch through the front of my thigh, front of my hip. If you want to, keeping that hip tucked under, you can just slowly push this knee, the right knee, forward slightly. Getting the stretch to increase through the back of the front of your left hip. And we're going to swap sides. So release your knee. Bring yourself onto the other foot. Swap on over. Make sure you've got a 90-degree angle through your knee and your back leg is nice and straight to the knee. Again, think about your hips. It's difficult for me to show you on this side. You want to tuck the tailbone under. Feel that stretch. Again, one side could be a stronger stretch than the other. This leg, I can feel it in my thigh, whereas on this leg, I felt it in the hip. I know, it's all a bit strange. A different side of the body do different things. If you're left-legged or left-footed, things work slightly differently. So then as you exhale, slowly keep the hip tucked under, but slowly push your front knee slightly forward to increase the stretch through the hip. But only do what your hip wants you to do, don't go too far. And then we're going to release. And we're going to come off the knees. So just bring yourself up. Give your legs a nice little shake. Right, I've written something on my list of things to do. I've got no idea what it means. Right, I think I do. I think I've worked it out. So we're going to come back onto both knees, come into tabletop. I took you off your knees for a little bit because being on one knee can be quite strong on the knee. So coming into tabletop, I want you to think about curving your back. So you're going to do a cat. So you're going to engage your tummy muscles, push them up into your spine, push your back up towards the sky. Your feet are flat to the floor. And I want you to then sit back onto your heels with your back curved up. Might need to release your hands, bring your hands back. And you're kind of doing a very basic child pose. You're pushing your back up to the sky. You're really trying to stretch the lower back, middle of the back, just underneath the ribs. Push your belly up towards your sky. Just keep breathing. It's quite hard to breathe in this position. Hope I don't sound like a heavy breather. And then you're going to release your back. And if you can, sit back onto your heels. This is quite a tough position. A lot of people don't like this. So if you don't like it, you can always lift your bottom off your heels. But if you're comfortable, you can sit back on your heels. We're just going to inhale, lift the arms up to the sky. Just look up towards your hands. And then slowly exhale, lower your hands down towards the floor. And release. So we're going to do that stretch I said about where you could use the roller if you wanted to. So if you have a roller, you don't have to, I'll show you both moves. I'll start with the roller so the people with the roller can get going. If you're not got a roller, you can just have a drink quickly. So if you have a roller, you want to lay your back onto the roller. So what we're going to do is you're just going to look up towards the sky really and try and see if you can arch your back over the roller. But only go to where your back likes it. If you find that your head is not strong enough to stay up, you can put your hands under your head, just come back. And then you come up, see if you can bring yourself down your back a little bit more and roll. Just keep doing that position. Move your feet away, move your bottom down. And when you get to your shoulders, you might want to bring your elbows together because then you're not rolling on your shoulder blades. Your shoulder blades are separated. So that's the way. You can keep doing that while you're on your roller. So I'll just get rid of my roller. Come back and hit me on the head, isn't it? If you haven't got a roller, what you can do instead is lay down onto the floor. So what the intention of this move is you want to lift your back off the floor. So you can do it with straight legs, or you can do it bent legs. I'm going to show the bent legs. So I really want to push my chest up to the sky. My shoulders are still staying on the floor, but I'm really pushing up to there. So I don't know whether you can see because I've got a floppy top on, but I can actually get my hand all the way through. I don't know whether you can see my fingers wiggling there. So I've got my back arched. If you feel you want to, you could put your hands to the floor and lift up onto your head. So that's putting even more of an arch, but be careful on that one. You kind of just have to adjust your head position. I've managed to get my head band right in the position I would get my head into normally. And then that's really arching the back off the floor, pushing my chest up to the sky. So just stay with whichever one works for you. If you're on the roller, still rolling up and down. If you've got all the way up to the top, you can always go back down again. I always find that I get a nice click in my back as I'm doing that one. Just releases my tight vertebrae. I sound like a right old woman with all my ailments, don't I? I'm supposed to be a yoga teacher. So bring your, okay, no. So if you're still with your back arched, you want to slowly release your back down to the floor. If you're using the roller, just sit up, remove the roller, and then bring yourself down to a laying position. Lovely. Forgotten, I've got rid of the roller. So feet are bent, your knees are bent, your feet are to the floor. We're going to do figure of four. So take your left foot onto your right knee and then bring your right foot up off the floor and bring your hands behind the knee. You're just going to squeeze your right knee in towards your chest. Try and engage your tummy muscles. Just be aware how you feel this stretch on one side. Just keep breathing nice and deeply. And then slowly take your foot back to the floor. Take your arms out to balance you, and you're going to take your left foot down to the right side of your body. So you're keeping it in figure of four position, and you're putting a belly twist in, taking the foot over to the side. You might find the foot doesn't make it to the floor. Just come to where works for you. Just feel that stretch coming all the way through your hip, down through into your glutes. And then we're going to bring that leg back to the ceiling. So inhale, bring the leg back up. And as you exhale, take the foot off the knee. Swap over, inhale, lift your right foot onto your left knee. And as you exhale, bring the knee up towards the chest. And use your hands to pull it in a bit more. Again, be mindful of how the stretch is different from one side to the other. You might find one side is totally tighter than the other. And that might be the side that you need to work on. We always try to balance the body up in yoga, especially when you're doing a class, but sometimes you might find that you need to concentrate more on one side than the other. Because one side's really strong, the other one just needs some work. Okay, so as you exhale, we're going to release the hands from the knee, take the foot down to the floor. Keep your legs in the figure 4 position, arms out to balance your shoulders down. And as you exhale, take your right foot over to the left-hand side of your body. See if you feel the stretch the same in this side of the body that you did the other. And as we're doing a rotation, you might find that your abdomen muscles find it harder to do a belly breath. You really need to fight against the waistline of your trousers to push it up and really get some breath in. One more breath. And as you inhale, lift your knees off the floor. We're going to bring the knees into the chest and just grab each knee with each hand. Just rock the knees towards your chest. So I'd like you to take your knees out nice and wide now. And we're coming into happy baby pose. So think about taking your feet up to the sky and bring your fingers towards your big toe, wrapping your fingers around your big toe. And the intention is that you pull your arms down towards you. So you're bringing your elbows bent and your knees are coming towards your armpits. And you can just gently rock from side to side. Don't go too far. Or somebody having to pick you up off the floor if you've gone all the way over. So what you'll find generally when you're in happy baby pose is that your bottom is curved and up in the air. But you can, if you think about it, try and get your hips and your lower back to the floor. So I'm up like that and I've got my bottom completely off the floor. But if I push my hips down, it changes the angle of my legs and I'm squashing my lower back into the floor, almost trying to get my bottom onto the floor as well. It's a different stretch. I think I feel this more in my hips, in my inner hips. I'm pushing my bottom down towards the floor. And then we're going to release the hands from the feet and you're going to take your feet down to the floor. You'll be pleased to know it's now Savasana time, so it's laying down, chilling out time. So up to you, you can put your feet up onto the sofa, nice bent legs on the sofa, or you can just lay in your usual Savasana, or if you wanted to, you could put your legs up against a wall if you've got any room to do that. Sofa works easier because you can get down from the sofa easier than you can the wall. So bring yourself into a comfortable Savasana. I'd like you to think about your lower back. We've done quite a bit of work on our backs and our hips today. So you might find that your back is looser and you might find that your back is nice and flat to the floor. So if it is flat to the floor, that is brilliant. And you can stay with your legs flat on the floor, getting comfortable. If you don't find it comfortable, then bend your knees or put them up the sofa. So just breathing nice and gently. I've just forgotten to mention, if you've got a lavender bag or a towel, please place these over your eyes. Block out the brightness from the light in the room you're doing yoga in. Just breathing gently. Try and get your belly involved in the breath. While you're laying there, the objective is to keep your mind nice and quiet. So I'm going to take you on a walk that I found at the weekend. A new little walk in Holbridge. So you might have to get your maps out if you remember this at the end. So if you know Holbridge at all, you want to stay on the footpath all the way up the hill and over the hill. And you walk all the way pretty much to the end of the footpath on the right side of the road. And it looks like a road. It looks like you're going to turn down the road, but it's just a very wide footpath. It does look like some cars have been driven down there, and it's a mud track, but the cars don't get very far because it comes down into a thinner road. And as you start the walk, it's a mud path, but it's not muddy. Well, at the beginning it's not. So you're just going to walk along with your trainers, your walking boots on, whatever you've got on, and you're just going to admire the view. So as you start the walk, there's a house on the right-hand side with high fences and nice fencing going along the side of the house. And then that house, once that finishes, there's nothing else there. It's just countryside, there's fields, but there's a lot of trees and bramble and foliage coming up the sides of the road or the path. So you're just going to walk down this path, and the thing that fascinated me is that the trees came all the way over the top and secluded the sunlight from your skin. So if you're somebody that doesn't like the sun on your skin, it's a perfect place to go to keep you cool. So just keep walking through this area, and what you'll start to notice is there has been some vehicles trying to get down here, and there is some quite wide ruts on the edge of the path. But just be mindful you're walking in your imagination. So you could walk in one of the ruts, or you could be up in the higher bit in the middle. And you're just looking at the trees, the leaves, feeling a nice gentle breeze blowing past you. Been a very breezy day today, so you're sheltered from a real breeze, but there's just a gentle feeling of the wind touching your skin, keeping your face cool. And just keep walking. Just imagine what you're seeing as you walk down the road. There is fencing along the side, but there's also trees, brambles, and hawthorn all growing along the side. Some of the plants have got flowers on, so hawthorn's in flower at the moment. And on the side of the road, on the verges, there's lots of grass, and there may be some wildflowers, some bluebells. I think there was wild garlic there. And you just keep walking. There's a big tree in the middle of one of the paths, and it's amazing that a car has managed to get round, but there is still tyre tracks as you go down this path. And if you're looking on the floor, there's loads of different tracks. There's hoofs, there's dog prints, there's footprints, there's cycle tracks, there's even slightly wider tyres. So you're just using your own imagination to set the scene as you walk along. It's quite a straight little path. It doesn't meander too much, apart from when we had that big tree in the middle just a moment ago. And this just keeps going and going and going and going. It turns into a tarmac road for a little while. So now you're walking on tarmac and the trees are no longer close together. You can see some houses around in the distance. There's one up on the hill. And if you keep walking, you come up to a beautiful big white house, big gates. And then there's a path that runs to the right of this house. It's got a gate over it, but it is a footpath. So you can either go under the gate, over the sty, there's definitely a sty there, or you can jump over the fence. It's your imagination, it's up to you what you do. And you're just going to keep walking up this path. And you'll notice off to the left-hand side as you're walking up this path, there's a big clearing, there's loads of logs, big logs, trees that have been cut. And if you look up between the trees, you can see the railway line. You carry on a little bit further, and you've just noticed there's a little ditch to the side on the left. And there's a little path, or a little wooden bridge that's been put there. It's not a sturdy one, but it's definitely one you can cross over on. But you've got to take a few steps down the muddy bank onto this wooden bridge, and then you're into the woods. And all I'm going to say is it's the other end of the Bluebell Woods. So if you know where the Bluebell Woods are, you've come out a completely different place. It's right at the back, the other side of the Bluebell Woods. It's nowhere near the golf course. It's over the other side. So hopefully I've given you a new little walk to go and do. I'm going to leave you in the woods. I'm not going to make you walk back because we'll be here forever. So I hope you enjoyed your new little walk that we went on. I hope I wasn't too racy and chatty as I went through it. But we're going to bring the body back into life now. So if you have a towel or lavender bag on your eyes, just take it off. Bring some life back into your arms and your legs. Be mindful of where you are. If you have your legs up the sofa, then you want to bend your knees gently away from the sofa and squeeze your knees into your chest. If your legs are on the floor, then slowly inhale, bring your right knee up, and exhale, bring your left knee up. Squeeze your knees into your chest. Just rock your knees gently from side to side. And we're going to come up into a seated position. So if you've got low blood pressure, roll to the left. High blood pressure, roll to the right. And if your blood pressure is normal, just roll on up and come to a seated position. So just breathing nice and gently. We're going to bring our hands to our heart center. And then we're going to bring our hands down to the floor by the side of us. I want you to push your hands into the floor as if you're trying to lengthen your chest and open your abdomen and pull it all up away from the floor. So you push the hands in, lengthen your body. And now I want you to keep your body nice and long and strong and remove your hands, bring them back to your heart center. Just sit and breathe. Be aware of how different that position feels, holding on to the lower part of your shoulder blades, sitting up nice and tall, engaging your core. I hope you've enjoyed the practice tonight, and I give you praise, and I wish you luck for the coming week ahead. Om Shanti. Namaste. Well done, everybody. Hope that was okay for you. Hope your backs are nice and stretched and that you're ready for anything that the world is going to throw at you tomorrow. Sleep well and get lots of cuddles.